And people don't like to hear it, but I always like to joke around and say, especially for young men, Warhammer 40K is an ultimate, male power fantasy. I'm not saying that in a weird way, but what guy wouldn't love to strap into ultramarine armor and shred through legion after legion of like demons straight from the warp, or defend a cause to the dying breath, or to have that amount of vitriol and zealousness for a cause? That's why it's fun and all, and it's over the top, but that's why you love it being over the top. You love seeing the dedication. You'll have groups like the Black Templars, or my favorite, for example, the Dark Angels, who would go leaps and bounds to honor their oaths and creeds in the name of the God Emperor. And that's something that I find very fascinating in it, of like how far they would go on this.
Yeah, and I also think the violence, since it's so prominent and everything, is it allows them to go more over the top. You have the things like the Demunculaba, which is probably one of the most disturbing things in the entire series. And I would just, if you want to look it up, I would go look it up. Describing it is just kind of, I mean, it's completely doable to describe it, but it's brutal what's taking place there. And then Chaos, what they embody as like the worst, well, not the worst. So that's why Chaos is unique, is that they are our fantasies, our dreams, our hopes turned up to the most extreme degree in a concentrated place. And if it was just a normal setting with Chaos being as crazy as they are, it would be so out of place. It would just not mesh. But since everything is so war focused, everything is so terrible, it allows for the extreme to just exist in harmony in a way. So that's why I think just like, if you don't like the war setting and everything like that, you're not going to probably like Warhammer. But there is something in Warhammer for everybody, because you can like painting the miniatures. Because let me tell you, the miniatures are sweet. They look cool. You can style them however you want to do them. They're not cheap, but there is a part of it for you. And if you're not for the lore and you like a tabletop kind of shooting style game, Warhammer is a perfect fit and will allow you to just kind of enjoy a time playing with your friends, or you can go to a local game shop and play there, or you can do what I got my friends into on Tabletop Simulator on Steam. We could have completely set up games that we create, not spending anything but just Tabletop's price tag, and we can play a pickup game of Warhammer whenever we feel like it, and we're not even close to each other. So like, it has a setting for everybody.
And that's what I love so much about Warhammer. Again, I can't preface how much this hobby has been a passion for me. Some of my fondest memories is years ago when I was with you, actually, and we were over at a friend's of ours house. His name's Gage. Hopefully he'll join us later on if he doesn't. Hi, Gage, if you're listening to this. But we were over there listening to Warhammer 40K lore while all of us had our own individual armies and set, and we were all painting miniatures. And I think, nothing like chilling around, having a drink with the boys while painting miniatures. And later you playing orcs and rolling what I swear to be a bucket of dice on the table and re-rolling half of those dice because they were one.
Sixes.
Sixes, my apologies.
Yeah, DACA.
The DACAs, yeah. And it's just the absurdity of it, but there's some of the greatest memories I'd honestly say I'd have in a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's super exciting and being able to sit there and just enjoy that with each other. Because I remember I got my Adeptus Custodes, which are supposed to be these almost unkillable, movable things, but then you get a lucky roll on them and wipe them out with like a guardsman, and I'm just sitting there like, well, this sucks, because I basically just lost what is the equivalent of like 5 of your units just in one turn. And that's the fun of it too, is that the tabletop game isn't. It's got its metas and everything, just like every game does nowadays, but it's so up to chance that you can just, as long as you don't take it too seriously, you can have some fun. Because when you're rolling hot, it feels great. Whenever you're rolling bad, you can laugh about it and just be like, holy crap, this is not my game.
Definitely. To go back over to the lore, though, although it was a nice to have a brief pit stop on the tabletop, I wanted to ask some questions more about the Imperium. In the setting of the Imperium, we spoke already about the Guardsmen, and briefly touched on what would be arguably the strongest unit. What would you say is your personal favorite, like, strongest unit in the Imperium of Man? And what would you argue was like the weakest? Would you say sure to guardsman, or is there a surprise one you got up your sleeve that people don't know about?
Unfortunately, it is the guardsman. It is just a human being with regular, well, not regular armor, but just our upgraded flak jacket and a powerful weapon that essentially results in just a flashlight. But whenever you say the strongest unit, that's where things get really tricky. So we'll leave named characters out of this, because if you don't know, in the 40k universe, named characters get plot armor thicker than I think anything in the universe. Like, a named character can do something that is literally not supposed to be possible because the writer loves them. And that's just what you're going to have to live with. There was a time where we'll get to that. I'll answer your question. So the Adeptus Custodes are the first thing that would come to your mind after the Primarchs. So the Primarchs would be the first, but we can talk about those later because they deserve their own little segment, I think, at least. But the Custodes are unique because the Space Marines are heavily modified human beings that go through inserting extra organs into them. They go through gene seed testing and everything. The Adeptus Custodes are just men. Now they're 7-foot golden gods of men with 6-packs on 6-packs, but they are just men, and they make Space Marines look like guardsmen. They could cut them in half and without even thinking about it, and what they're capable of doing is just absolutely mind-boggling in setting. One Custodes is an army, because they don't operate in big groups because there's so few of them in the setting. And then the weakest would be guardsmen, but there are things that you could say are even stronger. Custodes have no connection to the warp, so you have the Grey Knights. The Grey Knights are the elite of the Custodes that are psychers. They are powerful warriors, and they're a hidden faction that's not supposed to exist, that are just absolutely beasts in their own right. But then you have people like the Death Watch leader. Oh man, his name escapes me. He unfortunately ends up passing in the 30k universe, but he was what's called the Emperor's Champion. His name will come to me later, but he was fighting against Primarchs in his own right, and he was literally just sent out to go kill Chaos during the 30k setting. The Emperor was like, "You're gonna go kill that champion." Killed him, came back. Okay, no, you go kill that one. Killed him, came back. And it took writers basically just bullshitting to get rid of him, because, I mean, he was just kind of that, hey, he wins button. I'll give you the name whenever it comes to me, though.
No, definitely, and I don't blame you for that, because there's a name of a long list of characters, but out of curiosity for the audience, who would you say is your personal favorite character in the Warhammer 40k setting?
Oh, wow. You think I would be prepared for that? But so I have a personal favorite. He hasn't really done anything in the setting.
A character moving pieces then in the background, or
he is Constantine Baldor. He's the leader of the Custodes. I'm sorry, I'm still staying in that thing. He's not even the current leader because he's gone and missing, but he is gathering an army in the pocket of the warp with different factions, and nobody knows why. But this man stood up to Primarchs in his own right, fought them toe to toe. And again, this is just a man. This man was so important that when the Emperor sensed his existence, sprinted to him as a baby, met his mother, was like, I need this child, grabbed him, and then just, this man was so good at killing people, the Emperor gave him a spear that has him live the people's lives that he's killing. So while he's killing thousands of people in battle, he is experiencing their lives so that he can keep on his level of regret. So the Emperor gave him a handicap just so he wouldn't lose his humanity. He is such a beast in combat, and he's kind of a prick, and I just love that. Like he's just, you love it. Another what's a current setting favorite of mine?
Would you say Lionel Johnson for the?
I'm not going to use Lionel Johnson. No, I'm not. He is awesome. He is kind of, so all Primarchs are kind of have their flaws, we'll say. Lionel Johnson is he can't communicate too good. Now, he's a beast in combat. He knows how to keep his men in line, but he cannot communicate well with his soldiers and everything.
He's equivalent if you had a chart of all your character stats and all of them are maxed out and charisma's at like 1.
Yeah.
And that's basically Lionel Johnson. That's why you love him so much too.
Yeah, because he's not an idiot.